A fierce war of words has ensued between President Uhuru Kenyatta and Kilifi Governor Amason Kingi after the head of state threatened to jail the governor and others in the country over corruption. During his campaign in Kilifi yesterday, the president vowed to prosecute Kingi among other county bosses for allegedly misusing public funds. However, Kingi has dismissed the president, saying the country has independent agencies to conduct investigations and preferred charges against him should he be implicated. Kingi, who is seeking his re-election on an ODM ticket, said that the president was after revenge since the people of Kilifi have rejected the Jubilee agenda.
Kwa muda wa miaka 4.5 sasa amepata zaidi ya bilioni 40 billion shillings zimepitia mkono wake. Jameni, hata kama angekuwa mtu wa haki aseme ya kwamba kwa sababu ya njaa peke yake, kwa sababu ya njaa ya watu yangu nitatoa shilingi, hata aseme bilioni 2, ajenge hapa, aweke dams hapa, afanye irrigation hapa, tungekuwa tukiongea juu ya njaa leo? Jamani, mimi mchezo watu wa wasilete mchezo. Ngoja magavana ambao watafungwa baada ya tarehe 8 ni wengi na huyu wenu ni mmoja. Ngoja mtaona watu wamechezea watu miaka na hawajionea. Tunaelewana wenzangu? Tunaelewana?
Right, welcome to the show. Before we start, let me introduce my guests on my right-hand side here. Roslyn, starting with the ladies, Roslyn Obala, who is a senior political reporter right here at the Standard Group. And of course, right next to her, Ramadan Rajab, who is also a journalist. Right next to me on my left-hand side is Danish Odongo, who is a political commentator. And right next to him is Ibrahim Aruko, who is also a journalist. Now, lady and gentlemen, Uhuru, very fiery there at the coast, I believe it was earlier today or yesterday, saying that people have been given billions of shillings in the county's governors and they've more or less misused them. Roslyn, I'll start with you. I think he does have a point.
Yeah, I agree the president has a point, but it's coming too late because this is not the first time we are having issues of accountability in the counties. Remember, it was in his own backyard, that is Embu, where the first governor was impeached and re-impeached again when the court reinstated him. And nothing happened. The governor has been in office up to now, and we've had other governors also impeached. So when now the president come at the tail end of their tenure in office to say that they will be arrested, I think it's just a campaign gimmick.
Well, campaign gimmick or not, Rajab, I think there's no time like the present to basically raise the alarm about people wasting funds, especially now when people are about to choose their next leaders.
So interesting, because this is the same president who has been claiming that he's helpless. I think he's speaking from both sides of his mouth, and he's unable to really correlate what powers he has in his hands. What power will he invoke to arrest Governor Kingi? Will he jail him? Where will he jail him from? I thought he would be telling these institutions like ESCC, CID to investigate and take this guy to court, unless he wants to do mob justice. But he was just playing politics and diverting attention from the debate at the coast. The coast people feel marginalized, and that's what they want to hear. So to really divert that attention, attack the governor, so as the debate becomes that throwing words around with the governor. I think that's my take on his...
On what he said. That might be true, indeed, but I think we should give the president his due in this instance, because we always bash him for not being strong enough. And now he's come out strongly saying that we have given you money, you have misused it, and if you misuse it, the next time around there will be stern action, Danish.
I think we shouldn't judge the president by what he says, but by what he does, because talk is cheap. You can talk all day long, but talk cannot prosecute corruption, talk cannot uproot the gangrene of corruption that is eating this country dry. But the most painful thing I feel right now is the fact that we are playing politics with a very serious issue. We are losing 1/3 of our budget per year to corruption. And therefore, I think it is very immoral, in my opinion, that the president will actually stand and say that he'd arrest somebody and take them to jail. While in Kirinyaga, somebody who's going to be maybe the first female governor is accused of looting the country, billions of money. And nobody has been held responsible.
Well, he did say that every governor in every county will be held responsible.
The president's office overspent their budget for traveling when they were doing the tours across the world. They have got skeletons in their closet. They have got whatsoever no moral authority. They have got no moral ground to stand or to speak about corruption, just like the other side have got nothing to talk about.
I think that's a bit defeatist, Danish, because does having skeletons in your closet preclude you from pointing out that things are actually going wrong at the county level also?
Yes.
I don't think it does.
I think the debate is over to the point where Danish has here, they have spoken very well. And 3 is like the debate is over. I don't want to go so much into the discussion around the president. That's just the election, and I say talk is cheap. They say a tiger does not do what? It pounces, yeah? Let him pounce. But most importantly, even before I talk about Waiguru, I know that there's a member of his cabinet. He has a report about how he stole money for athletes in Brazil. Let him arrest him today, then tomorrow go for Kingi. Start with your own house. You have a report from the DPP.
Which powers will he be invoking to arrest him?
No. I'm just saying, if he said he will arrest, he will arrest. So why doesn't he give away his own minister?
Let me interrupt there and say, first of all, I've said that we always bash the president for not coming out strongly. Now he has
talk is cheap.
You start with talk. Second of all, Kingi's response...
You start with talk for the last 4 years.
You start with talk and then action follows. You have to plan and action follows. But Kingi's response was this. It was that he dismissed what the president was saying, just like you guys are doing, saying that there are independent agencies to conduct investigations and prefer charges against him should he be implicated. And we've always said that these institutions are not strong enough, but that is perhaps the way we should be going. The president can speak, yes, but we have the EACC, we have the DPP, we have institutions in this country which are mandated to follow people who are accused of crimes of corruption. Rosalind.
I think, Julie, if the president was very serious on this issue of corruption, I think the war should have gone to these institutions we're talking about. Because remember in 2015, the report that he tabled in Parliament, among the 175 people who are named in corruption-related cases, 10 were governors. They are still in office. We've not even seen one taken to court to face those charges. So actually, yes, there are corruption in all these counties, but will the president do anything? And you remember even during the accountability summit, he said it. He said, my hands are tied. What will I do? The institutions are there. Let these institutions do their work. I think by saying it now, we are saying that he means something. But let him not tell us that he will arrest them. Let him tell us that he will pressurize these institutions to ensure that they act on the corrupt governors.
But I think let us not be lenient on the president or the cabinet or the opposition, because this country is drowning under the weight of corruption. It is something very, very serious. When instead of us dealing with cholera, we are having it hidden. Instead of us dealing with road carnage, we are having people dying in the road. Corruption has got immediate consequences. That people were actually paralyzed in hospital because of corruption. That people were dying of hunger in a place because of corruption. It has got immediate consequences. So for the last 4 years, if you've not even seen a single prosecution of a big fish. We're not talking about small people who steal chicken here and there, and then they're paraded as the war on corruption is being won. We want big fish, big, real mbuta.
Well, perhaps this is the beauty of devolution, because at the county level, there are also institutions which checks and balances. And I don't think we can blame the president for what governors are doing, because we have a devolved system of government, and we have independent.
Do you know why you should blame him? First of all, he's taking responsibilities and not his. He's not the institutions.
By saying he will arrest people.
Why does he want to arrest? Yeah. Does he have powers to arrest? No. By the way, I'm sorry to say that the president seems to have slept through the revolution of 2010, because he's just supposed to be a president. The police should arrest, the DPP should prosecute, the judges should, So, I have told you, there is a member of his cabinet called who? The Minister for Sports. The CS in charge of sports. There is a report on his table about how he messed up athletes in Brazil for the Olympics. The Hustler's jet report.
Yes. No. Let's just say what the DPP has. What we now know is on his table. The ready food that he can eat. The first bite on the cherry is a man called who? I don't forget his name.
Let me just
interrupt. Should be committed tomorrow.
As far as I know, there have been no direct implications of graft against the president himself. And now I see where he was coming from, and he was saying his hands are tied, because we do have institutions. Why are they not doing the job? Perhaps that is the question we should be asking.
Can I answer you? That they have systematically since 2013. There has been a very good way of peeling away powers from the institutions, and they must giving it to them. The president. You should know that, for example. The police, the National Police and the National Police Service Commission, the best example. We saw the powers being removed from those institutions and they being given to the president. Right. The argument was that you cannot have a police inspector general, the president cannot fire. So he was given powers to do what?
to fire and hire a police. So,
Okay.
consistently.
Right, Oruko, hold that thought for a second. Let's carry this conversation forward, because now some of the ballot papers for the governor, senator, and women representative seats have landed. The Independent Election and Boundaries Commission announced their imminent arrival on Twitter hours before a cargo plane carrying the ballots landed at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. Now, the Dubai Al Ghurair Printing and Publishing Company received the tender to print the ballot papers ahead of the August 8th elections. And meanwhile, the printing of the presidential ballot papers has stalled, pending a Court of Appeal ruling that is expected to come down tomorrow. Now, with less than 20 days to go, is the delayed printing of the presidential ballot papers likely to throw a spanner in the works?
Yes, it's such that planning for elections requires proper organization, proper logistics planning. You have to look at your human resource. And when we made the decision that this is the right time to print ballot papers, one of the reasons was to ensure that we have the correct material to be prepared, packaged properly, and be delivered at the right time and at the right place. So, as Madam Vice Chair has said, we have received 243 ballots representing 41 counties for gubernatorial seats. And as you can see, in terms of logistics, we are receiving these items here, but straight away we're going to take them to our warehouse, escorted by security, and we also have security based at our Nairobi warehouse. And in a couple of days, we'll start now distributing them to our constituencies across the country. So this is a sign that all systems go. We are ready for the elections, and we want to ask Kenyans to get ready to exercise their right to vote.
Right, welcome back. So, the presidential ballot papers. This has been a long-running battle around the IBC, mostly waged by the opposition and NASA. But now the ruling comes down tomorrow morning. We'll see which side the court has fallen, or the Court of Appeal has fallen on which side of the debate. But in the meantime, we're still 19 days to the general election, and we do not have presidential ballots, Roslyn. Does this have a serious implication?
I don't think it is quite serious. Maybe the process might delay, because if they have to follow the timelines, then we might be time-bound. But taking into account the situation that we are in, that there is a case in court, I think once the case has been determined, we can still proceed on and have these ballots printed. But again, I blame the IBC, because the issue of printing of the ballot started in December last year. So it's not something that started today. Why did they wait up to the tail end and to try and hide behind the constitutional timelines to award this tender to Al Ghurair? Because that was the bone of contention then. They will have opened it up for other companies to come in. The other day they were saying that they have plan B. Why didn't they imply this plan B then? Why did they have to wait up to the last minute to do so? So I think with us, we are still set. We can still have the elections, because the printing only takes 2 days. This one has just lasted some days.
Right.
Yeah, so the presidential, I don't think will take so much
that
time.
long. And as they were announcing the arrival of the ballots on Twitter, I think the hashtag was ready or not, which was kind of tongue-in-cheek on their part. But I think part of the IBC's problems have rightly been the opposition, Rajab, because we started with protest Mondays and we've gone downhill from there.
I really doubt it, because the first thing, IBC is its own enemy. If you look at the processes they're doing, everything is opaque. And if it's opaque, IBC is not holding elections for political parties or itself. It's holding elections for Kenyans. And there is values in our constitution about public participation. Once you don't involve the public, once they don't appreciate the processes, then you miss that threshold. The only place they can go for any help is the courts. So you can't say opposition. Opposition is a scapegoat. Why didn't they do advertising of this opening tender for this Al Ghurair thing? Why are they insisting on Al Ghurair? The fascination around that company alone raises eyebrows.
Well, I believe when the courts themselves have said that the opposition or people who are bringing cases about Al Ghurair and the direct tendering or the tendering do not have enough evidence to support their case.
No. Look at this. This issue started in February when the court ruled against this tender being awarded to Al Ghurair, saying it violated election laws. And also it didn't do public participation. They went to court. The appellate judges upheld the same ruling. And IBC was to re-advertise this tender, which they didn't, because they wanted to really take us to the end or to the thin line and do restricted tendering, which they did, against public will. These elections are not for IBC nor for political parties. And Chiloba should know it, that if elections are plundered, there's a recipe for violence, and we should blame him.
Right, but can we also blame NASA on the position for being on the case of IBC perhaps a bit too much, not allowing them to actually carry out their duty as an independent commission?
I feel like you're holding brief for an institution.
Thank you.
Because
I'm just saying it's independent.
I think it is in the right of every Kenyan to seek redress in the courts, whether it's NASA, whether it's Jubilee, anybody who feels aggrieved or feels like the courts or an institution is not fair, they need to go to court. IBC goes to court. Jubilee goes to court, NASA goes to court. But the moment we want to tell people that don't go to court because you're delaying us...
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there have been about 18 or 19 matters about IBC before the court.
Which is absolutely okay, even if they filed 100, as long as they are before the court, but we are still within the rule of law.
Yes, keeping in mind we have an election timetable.
It's okay. Some of these mistakes were IBC's mistakes. There's no way we can go into a field and the referee who has been elected or appointed to come and preside over the match is already biased. It's my right to actually fight through. Because why would we go to an election that is already marred with irregularities of the beginning? IBC should come out and tell Kenyans that we are ready to conduct this election by doing the right thing. Forget about anything else. I'll urge court to go to the court today, tomorrow, even a day before. Let them go to court. The courts are open and available to them.
Even on the 7th
of August. Go to court.
My question is this. If all these matters had been brought by the Jubilee Party, would everybody's opinion be the same?
Would support Jubilee.
Or is this a kind of like a political leaning? We're hiding behind the fact that we're saying IBC is ill-prepared, IBC has done this and this. There are malpractices somewhere within its commission of...
Look at this issue of the register even alone. IBC, under the election law, they are supposed to publish the register 6 days to election. They haven't done it. They're just dilly-dallying around. So someone has moved to court to really force it to have the election, the register published in total. Even the audit report for KPMG, they only publish some few,
the abridged version,
which they feel is a safety net for them. I told you elections are not being held for Chiloba, nor political parties.
I understand you.
Unless Jubilee go to court, if they have an issue,
if you have an issue,
why are they holding brief for Jubilee?
Do you want to settle scores on the streets? IBC? We can't settle scores on the streets.
Court.
We are democracy.
Oruko, your thoughts, please. Oh, sorry. Before you speak, let me just carry this forward. And now the Communication Authority Board, Francis Wangusi, has warned leaders against announcing election results alongside the IBC, saying this is likely to trigger chaos. The opposition's NASA coalition has announced that it will run a parallel tallying system and will announce presidential results 8 hours after polling stations close at 6 p.m. Meanwhile, the electoral agency has a 7-day window within which to announce the winner. Wangusi has said that it is only the IEBC that is allowed to announce election results, and anyone else would have to wait until it did so. He cautioned the media against broadcasting any results other than those that came from the IEBC. So sticking with matters IEBC here, Oruko, in this particular case, do you think the media and the opposition should be announcing parallel results with the IEBC, given that the IEBC's word is final?
Again, there's nothing like parallel results. We have, I think the court has ruled that what the presiding officer announces is the final.
Yes.
And in serious democracies, the media calls the elections. Yeah. So Wangusi, again, these are people who are part of the Kenyan problem. People who sleep on their job. They just want to talk. They talk about violence. They cannot tell us.
Qualify your statement. How is he sleeping on his job? He's trying.
What is he saying now? What is he telling us? What is he telling us about what does he know about violence?
No. I believe that his intent was the fact that if you have if you have the IBC and the media announcing results concurrently, that might be a recipe for one, confusion, and two, chaos, because whose results are
history again helps us. In 2002, I think I was in this country, I was a journalist. The media was even ahead of the ECK. Okay?
The
The media
is that
announced
right?
Kibaki the winner. So don't live in this idea of violence and fear. This, this is fear mongering from a public officer who, by the way, was failed on his job.
I think
you don't need to be told about fear.
Where the challenge we are having here is that I think Wangusi has not read the elections law, especially the election law 2016, where we introduced a public portal. That public portal is supposed to help Kenyans access the results from the constituency's returning officer. The same with the IBC National Tallying Center. I don't know why they're insisting on bombers. The same to the political parties. So if the political parties get the same results that the media are getting, the same results that IBC getting in Nairobi, and a returning officer is a representative of IBC, why should I wait for Chiloba or whoever or Chebukati here in Nairobi to tell me the results of Nairobi Ruaraka constituency when the returning officer there has declared the results and that is the final results? So again, let him, if he's trying to block the media from announcing the results, let him come out and tell us from where. Is it the polling centers? Is it the constituency level, or is it at the national level? It needs to be very clear.
Let me say something. Let me say something. Everybody has just become an expert on violence. You know, everybody. You announce the results of the violence. You have a WhatsApp group with the violence. No. We cannot live in a country of fear through incompetent public officers.
This is my point. There is a possibility that the results will be contested. So, for example, the media has projected one win or a loss, and the IBC is saying something different, and both are announcing. I do understand where he's coming from. That could be a recipe for chaos, because there might be a decisive.
I think Congress has no role on
this matters.
Because one,
let him give to his lane.
The court has said
he's not an election officer.
Constituency results are final. So long as everyone gets his results from the returning officer on the ground, that's final. Unless IBC wants to have his own results or cooked results, that's why they are trying to really shut us down. He should declare to us, are we in dictatorship or democracy? Yes. You can't be in the middle.
Okay, let me shut you down now momentarily, because our Twitter question today is, in fact, should the media be allowed to announce election results before the Electoral Commission? Should the media be allowed to announce the election results before the Electoral Commission? You can tweet me at Julie Masiga, at KTN News. Of course, the hashtag is News Sources. Don't go too far. We're going on a short break right now.